What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Gervonta Tank Davis, who I say has a PhD in the one-hitter quitter. We talk about pound for pound hardest hitters in boxing. Gervonta Tank Davis is at the top of the list, make no mistake about it, but he can't seem to get out of his own way. Left training camp 3 weeks ago. Now his fight with Lamont Roach has been postponed. It was supposed to go down August 16th. Las Vegas, Nevada, aka Sin City venue, T-Mobile Arena. Not gonna happen on that date. The PBC, who's putting on this rematch, is now talking about the fight taking place August 23rd or August 30th. Now, Tank Davis left training camp 3 weeks ago. Wasn't happy with his money. Wasn't happy with the moolah. Wasn't happy with the bag that he was receiving from my old good brother Al. He was in what his contemporaries like Shakur Stevens was making with Turkey Alley Sheik. What Devin Haney was making with Turkey Alley Sheik. You know, Devin Haney got $10 million to fight Jose Ramirez. Tank getting $8 million to fight Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know Tank know the numbers. He ain't happy with the number. Now he's threatening to pull out of the fight altogether. Now he recently just got out of the big house. Was arrested on a domestic battery by his ex-girlfriend. The mother of his 2 kids. Got out on bond, 10,000 G's. Was put out for his release. Now he's back at the crib, but he's not happy. And he's in a bad space, mentally and physically. So, in my opinion, I don't think the fight gonna happen at all in August. In September, we already got a big pay-per-view going down with Canelo Alvarez versus Chance Crawford. So it wouldn't be a good idea for the PBC to put on another pay-per-view for the month of September. So I don't know where we're gonna go from here for Tank Davis, but I'm getting kind of tired of the Tank Davis saga. The guy got a lot going on. The guy don't seem like he's in love with the sport of boxing. And if you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, no, you subject to get put out in your next fight and put out in a bad way, man. You got to be all in when you talk about boxing. You can't play boxing. You can play basketball. You can play football. You can play tennis. You can play golf. You can play baseball, but you can't play boxing. You got to be all the way in. And if you get to a point where you done made a whole lot of money, and it's hard getting out of bed, out of them satin sheets to go run those miles, go run those hills to get ready for your next opponent, then it's time for you to walk away from the sport. And we might be at that point with Tank Davis because he got a lot going on. He's made a lot of money. And he seems to not be in love with the sport. You look at how he was talking before the first Lamont Roach fight. He was talking about he's going to have a couple more fights. He's going to get the hell about the sport. And he don't like what the sport has become nowadays. He said a lot of things about Turkey Alley Sheik and what he's done for the sport, and a lot of them things he said are not good for the sport of boxing. So he said that the boxing is in a bad space in his eyes, in a bad spot in his eyes, and he don't really want to be a part of it too much longer. So all that could be playing into Tank Davis and Lamont Roach rematch not never coming to fruition. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires, but Tank not happy with the money. That's really what it boiled down to. He not happy with the money. You know, you look at what he made in the Ryan Garcia fight. Every fight since then has been less money. You know, usually when you have a fight of that magnitude, you know, you go to a different categories for what you make per fight, and your money go up, not down. But this money seemed to have been going down since the Ryan Garcia fight. You know, that was one of those fights where it was a big fight. No title was on the line, but you was talking about 2 of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, and that was the biggest fight of that year as far as pay-per-view buys, gate revenue, sponsorship, and all the revenue streams that were involved in that fight. That was the #1 fight of that year, even outselling and outgrossing the Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo fight that took place that same year. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, the rematch is in jeopardy. And if I'm the PBC, I'll be like, look, Tank, if you ain't going to be available for August 23rd, August 30th, we need to get Lamont Roach another opponent. I know Lamont Roach is not really with the PBC, but he's really with the PBC as far as he's tied in with the PBC with the whole Gervonta Tank Davis 2-fight deal. So he's contractually obligated to have his next fight with the PBC. If Tank Davis is not able to be available for the fight, they need to find another opponent for Lamont Roach. And if I'm them, you know, I put on another opponent for Lamont Roach, and I put it on regular Amazon Prime. Obviously, you can't put it on Amazon Prime pay-per-view, you know, if it ain't Tank Davis. There's no other star over there with the PBC that will be a worthy enough opponent for a fight with that opponent and Lamont Roach to be on pay-per-view. So I would try to get a Gary Antoine Russell, let him fight Lamont Roach for Russell's WBA junior welterweight title. Make that be the main event, put a solid undercard up under that fight, and let's go. Let's go. PBC has put on non-pay-per-view cards already on Amazon Prime, and some of the best fights were non-pay-per-view in my opinion. I like the card that was involved with Sebastian Fedora going against Booker. I thought that was a pretty solid card. I think they could probably put on a little better card than that. You do Roach, Antoine Russell, main event, you know. There's some other fighters out there that need to get back in the ring, knock the rust off. Maybe I do Frank Martin versus Edwin De Los Santos as the co-main event. Put Keith Thurman on there. He needs to get some action. He can't be waiting around here. He's been hella inactive the last 3 years. Put Keith Thurman in there, you know, against a quality opponent, you know, maybe a Stanley Jonas or somebody like that against a Keith Thurman. You know, the BBC got a bunch of welterweights that are fighting up under their promotional company, the TGB Promotions. So I'll be looking at some fighters like that. Abel Ramos, ain't he still with the PBC? Keith Thurman going up to 154, so you might want to put a 154-pounder in there, you know. What's the guy happened to the Argentina that fought Jamel Charlo? Had them great 2 fights. The first fight I actually thought he beat Jamel Charlo. They had the rematch, then Charlo stopped him. I know he ain't fought Castano. You know, I call him up. Maybe we can do a Thurman versus Castano fight. And that'll be Thurman's second fight at 154. Get his feet wet against a sturdy opponent. You know, I'd make a strong undercard for the Lamont Roach versus Gary Antoine Russell. That's what I do, man. You can't wait on Tank, man. Tank got so too much going on right now, man. He's not a reliable person at this point in time. So they need to move on. If he can't get his act together and be available for the 23rd or the 3rd of August, I'll be looking for another opponent for Lamont Roach. That's what I'd do if I'm the PBC. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But as of now, Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Tank Davis is not happening, at least not on August 16th. We'll see if the PBC is able to secure that fight for another date. I'm very skeptical at this point, but we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on TikTok at JB Sports. New media. Follow me on Twitch at Briscoe MA77071. And follow me on my YouTube channel at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 9656, and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 8000. And if I said Twitch, I might already said Twitch, but follow me on Twitch. I'll say it a second time. Follow me on Twitch at Briscoe MA77071. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'll holler.